November 5th. Special thanks going out to everybody involved in the Deeper Dive Live Before Lock show. We put out the call to action for getting a couple of likes, thinking 300 would be the level that we needed to unlock Alex's projections for yesterday. Boy, were we wrong. We blew 300 out of the water in the first 45 seconds.
How high did it get up to?
1,300 was the last number that I saw. I don't know if any more trickled in. Over 10,000 views on the video, too. So fantastic. And honestly, thank you guys. Those likes help push the video higher. It helps to just expand our horizons. So if you want to do it for the strategy show, I wouldn't be bummed. I don't have anything to promise you guys right now, maybe in the future, but if you hit that like button, it would certainly help us out. Adam, how did your Monday shake out?
Not great. Yeah, got beat in tournaments. Head to head did okay, I think. But yeah, it's just how it goes. You know, when you're purely a tournament player or almost purely a tournament player, you're going to lose a lot of days, and then you just make up for it. You know, once every couple of weeks, once every month, whatever, and it all comes out. So, how did yours go?
Not great. 2 straight pretty negative NBA days after 5 straight days of pretty positive NBA, and those are just the way that it works. I hate waking up in the mornings when it's bad and being like, I have to wait another 12 plus hours to be good again, but that's just how this works. Kicker says Spags. Let's go ahead and update that. You are not him. And fixed. I've got lineup study on the screen right now. That is an FC Pro feature. Highly recommend you check it out. I spend a lot of time in here trying to dig into what the big time pros are doing on a day-to-day basis. We got a fun talking point right out of the gate. Subscribe to FC Pro after subscribing to us. It does not come with your base Fantasy Cruncher subscription with Osmo. It is an additional paid out add-on. You get lineup study, you get advanced randomness. What am I missing? There's a third thing. Oh, auto groups, which very helpful during the NFL weekend. James Harden yesterday. He was the chalk play of the day on DraftKings. 76% owned. Alex came in with 99.3, 149 out of 150. You said, hold my beer, 150 out of 150. I believe I had like 92% or something along those lines on FanDuel. He was an even better play on DraftKings. Any regrets?
No.
Yeah, no, not at all. Sometimes it's really that easy. I would have been very happy with 100. You know, just the art of making 1,000 lineups and sorting them out is always just going to lop some off that you don't really realize are going to happen. But if there was ever a lock button play, it was James Harden. And sure enough, 73.5 fantasy points, which is basically just average for Harden in that scenario.
Yeah, I had him projected for 72.
Okay. I think I had like 68, 67, but those are comparable the way that you and I are calibrated in totals, at least. And then the next guy up. This one was interesting. 64% owned. You matched the field. Alex came in at just 21%. What were your thoughts on Gorgeous Dong last night?
He was $3,300 with power forward eligibility in addition to center. So I had him at 26 minutes. I'm not sure what he ended up playing. I know he only played about 10 in the first half.
I think he played less than that, actually. I want to say 22.
Yeah. But it was just, I don't know. I didn't really see a way that he could fail outside of like foul trouble or injury because he's like a point per minute fantasy player and he's always been productive. Just seemed like a pretty safe play that also had a really high ceiling.
Way wrong. 17 minutes and change.
Okay.
Which is, I mean, it's what I talked about on the show. I don't know if you guys mentioned it or not. I had no doubt about his ability to perform when he was on the floor. But if you told me that they wanted to get more run to Jordan Bell because Gorgeous Dong is like not an important piece of their future and who the hell knows with Bell, I was like, yeah, sure. You don't get a lot of options to test shit out because Karl Anthony Towns isn't on the floor. He doesn't miss time. Last year was the first time that he ever missed a game in his NBA career. So when you have these opportunities, sometimes stuff's going to get weird. He played 17 minutes. Still got to 25.5 fantasy points. It's not awesome, but I got it. I was with you. He was cheap, and he's good when he's on the court from a fantasy perspective.
If he had only been a center, I would have had much less. Like, I didn't play FanDuel last night, but I would have had much less
Yeah.
on FanDuel.
Third up, Bruce Brown. That was the Osimo special. 94.7% of him. You had 62. Ended up smashing 41.75 fantasy points. It's just opportunity in 3,200. Do you like Slate last night?
Yes and no. I mean, it's obviously fun to make lineups on those slates where, like, in some ways, I like slates where I can just feel really good about the guys that I'm really high on. Like, Bruce Brown, James Harden, like all these guys, there was never any sort of, oh man, I don't know if I'm making the right play on these guys.
Yeah.
So like that's always nice from a confidence level, but it's also just really, really hard to win slates where you're going to need 400 plus points because the entire slate's $1,000 too cheap and there's great value and everyone knows about the great value. So,
Yeah.
As far as like my enjoyment level in making lineups and watching those lineups perform, I like those slates, but if every slate were like that for the entire season, I expect that I would make less money than if they're not.
That's a great way to put it. Once you start getting like multiple sub $4,500 plays on a slate to the point where there are so many that you need to start picking between them, that's when it's just like, okay, I don't. Kai Bauman and Gorgeous Dong, Bruce Brown, Brandon Clark, who 4,800, but another value option. Jahlil Okafor opened up. Pascal's 5K, but you're getting like a ton of minutes at the very least. Sometimes it just becomes a sea of it, and I start to really not enjoy that type of slate. And maybe that's just because I lost. Maybe I would say that I love this slate if I won yesterday. Who the hell knows? Top lineup in the excellent eights last night. Stop me if you've heard this before. Single bullet. Not a great night for the touts, I'm guessing. A lot of single bullet. 8, 11, 1, 7, 1, 39, 4, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Ooh, a lot of ones there. Just not all that fun. Here's the lineup. James Harden, obviously. Bruce Brown, Pascal, Al Horford, Gorgeous Dong, Kyrie Irving, Jordan Poole, Brandon Ingram. Yeah, well, that'll do it. That'll do it. I don't really have anything to add on last night's slate. I mean, like, the Warriors are basically a fake team now. 2/3 of the Pistons are like a fake team. I just want people to be healthy. Honestly, it's incredible to me that the Warriors won, first and foremost. Mind-boggling. But two, you never see a team be so incredibly decimated to this degree in the first week of November.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's a March lineup. And they're doing it in like their 5th game of the season.
I was trying to look through me and Alex's exposures to see, like, because like you said, there's so many single entry lineups at the top, it implies that most of the max entry guys missed out somewhere. So I was just kind of looking. I know Jeff Teague was my big miss. He was in foul trouble the entire game. Pretty frustrating because he had 20 points in 18 minutes. I projected him for 32 minutes. Like, that would have been a pretty solid score. But for Alex, it looks like...
I mean, Pascal is your big miss.
Yeah, I just didn't get there.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I wasn't terribly enamored with him either.
I mean, it was just, he was a good play. There was so much value at forward that I ended up paying down to that I just didn't really get to him.
Yeah.
Valanciunas looks like he was Alex's big miss. Teague was mine.
Yeah, I had a lot of Jovel.
Alex also stuck with a lot of Okafor. I cut him back.
I mean, here's how it happens. I have it sorted by just raw value right now. So Bruce Brown first, Pascal second. Then it's Troy Brown, DiVincenzo, Korkmaz, Bruno Caboclo, Garrett Temple are the next 5. Essentially unowned. You get to Damian Lee, Kai Bowman, Dylan Brooks, and then Christian Wood, Daniel House, Mo Wagner. It's just a sea of like not great at the top. So if you can put the pieces together some other way, you're going to be okay. Like, who really busted? Brandon Clark, not great. Okafor, not
Keith.
Great. Oh, don't get me started.
Yeah.
5.5 fantasy points. Honestly, he didn't bust. He was 13.8% owned in this contest. That's not like... I mean, he personally busted, but...
Yeah. But I mean, like, I had 20%. Alex had 35%.
Yeah. And earlier in the day, I thought I was going to have a lot more than that. Just a gross day all around. But Any day that the Warriors are going to beat the Blazers with essentially a G League squad, it's not going to be good.
Which also brings back the point of, people were, if Russell's out, it's really hard to play Lillard because, like, how does this game stay close?
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter.
Nope. You should never look at it. Never, never, never. I was hoping for more. I don't even know where he finished. How did Jared Allen finish last night?
34 DK.
Okay. That'll work. I was getting like a staggering amount of him last night.
I had 0. Alex had 2.
Yeah. I had like 30. I took a lap through like player props and stuff on him before, like I guess during the deeper dive, and everything that I had in for him was basically like 2.5 points shy of the prop, a rebound and a half shy, an assist shy. And I was just like, okay, like what this is telling me is he's starting and minutes are more than 24.
Yeah.
I was like, if nobody's going to be here, I'm going to rely on that information. Didn't totally pay off, but he was not death sentence or anything. Could have used a little bit more, but worthwhile risk, I think. I guess. I don't know. Didn't work. Anyway, we've got a lot to talk about. Another 6-gamer. We're finally flattening out this schedule. Adam and I will have a little bit more to talk about. But first, shout out to Yahoo Sports for being the presenting sponsor of this show. I am dropping the link into chat right now for Emacs Cash Building Blocks article. Almost said Spotlight Hitters. Still don't have that out of my head quite yet. Information at the top in Emacs article on how to sign up at Yahoo. Use the promo code AWESEMO to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. Emacs Cash Building Blocks article is free every day, so you should start your day off with it and check it out. This is yesterday's. Today's will be up sometime early in the morning. Go check that out, and shout out to Yahoo for being our sponsor. Also, use the promo code NBA Strategy when signing up, and you can get up to $50. Nope, not up to. Just you get 50% off. I really, really, really screw that up like half of the time. 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus. 50% chance that I screw up that read out of the gate. It's always 50%. But 50% NBA Strategy, one big word. Just head to awesemo.com/join or click the Awesemo Plus text in the top left corner of the homepage. You can come and check out everything we have to offer. It is an endless stream of stuff. Today, free content. NHL line changes article is going to be free, along with the NBA strategy syllabus. It's a survey. Depending on the day, you're going to get myself, Alex, Adam, Lofty, Dan Strafford, potentially Fast Eddie. Who am I missing? EMAC. We might see Ben pop in there from time to time. Spags from time to time. Randone from time to time. We go through a couple questions and just say, who's our favorite GPP play? Who's the favorite cash play? Teams we're trying to target. Positions to pay down for. We go through, just answer those questions really simply. Put that behind the paywall for our subscribers. But today, that content will be free. Comes out in the early afternoon, usually, sometime after shoot around, after we get a little bit more information in on the slate. But check that out. Real clean, concise, just questions and answers. Our favorite contrarian play of the day, where we elaborate a little bit further, but really easy to get the information. You can get through that in like 5 minutes, but a very consolidated look across everybody at awesemo.com. 6 games. It's not the most fun slate in the world. I'm not going to lie. Not a lot of fun games. I'm not excited for Hornets Pacers. I'm not excited for Cavs Celtics. Hawks Spurs is fine since Trae Young is back. Bulls Lakers is kind of unappealing. Thunder Magic, Nuggets Heat. There's not a game. But
Young's back?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought he was still questionable.
Young is expected to be back. He is questionable,
okay.
but not really.
Yeah, I missed that yesterday.
Yeah, you're good. Well, let's dig into it. You have anything else?
Nope.
All right, here we go. Charlotte Hornets, Indiana Pacers. Hornets 107 implied total. Pacers 109.5. We'll start at the top in salary at the very least. Terry Rozier, 7,400 on FanDuel, 6,900 on DK, 13K on Fantasy Draft, and $25 on Yahoo. Man, it's really hard to get excited about really anything from Charlotte. But there's some ownership coming in here. Rozier, Zeller, Miles Bridges, all 20% or higher across FanDuel and DraftKings. Bridges at 44% right now, 5,400 on FanDuel. Cody Zeller, 31% owned on FanDuel. I like Bridges a lot, given the position and just sort of his price. I think that that ownership makes sense. I'm a Cody Zeller fan, but I'm not sure I'm a 30% owned Cody Zeller fan today.
Yeah, I love Zeller this season so far. But if he's going to be that popular at like a mid-range price tag, I could see coming in a little underweight. But I do have him projected as my top play on Charlotte. Just getting an absurd amount of rebound chances so far this year. Granted, he's grabbing probably an unsustainable amount. Last I checked, his rebound chance percentage was up over 80%, which isn't going to continue. But just getting tons of opportunities, and outside of the Golden State game where he played 20 minutes for I really don't know what reason, he has been playing big minutes in competitive games. So I do like him here.
Okay. When you say he's like your top projected Hornet, or do you just mean in raw points?
And value.
Okay. Just making sure we're talking about the same thing then.
Yeah.
So you have him higher than Bridges?
Yes.
Okay. Close?
I have him projected for 9 DraftKings points more than Bridges.
Wow. Okay. There's that. So I'm guessing that you are not, ignoring the positional aspect of it, not as fond of the 44% owned Miles Bridges on FanDuel? Or is Cody Zeller that good?
I mean, I think he's okay. Like I have Bridges right now for like 28.5 DraftKings points, which is fine at 5,200.
Okay. See, I only have Zeller at 33.4 on DK, comparable to Bridges for you. My projection for Bridges is comparable to yours.
Yeah, I have Zeller at 37 on DraftKings.
Okay, so that'll do it. Like I have Rozier higher than Zeller right now.
I have Rozier second highest on the team, but behind Zeller.
Okay. So to me, outside of Bridges on FanDuel, which I get because it's small forward, and if you don't pay for 11.7 LeBron James, you're dropping all the way down to $6,900 Gordon Hayward. So stuff starts to look pretty similar. Is there anything on Charlotte that you're like clamoring to get?
No. I mean, Zeller, I guess, but outside of that, no.
Okay, I think we're on the same page then. It's just a really tough sell. They're a bad team. I will have these guys. Obviously, it's a 6-game slate. But like nobody is what I would consider to be some sort of quote unquote core play.
Anyone from Charlotte that does end up being a core play for me, it's more because of lack of other options on this slate than because I feel great about the Charlotte guys.
That's a great way to put that.
Like it's the opposite of last night's slate where everyone in my core last night I felt really good about. That might not be the case tonight.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. So Rozier, Zeller, Bridges, Graham, Bacon is pretty much where I would be. I don't, unless you think that PJ Washington just plays like 38 minutes again.
I mean, I think he can play big minutes. He just like, I don't know, he has a 16.1% usage rate this year, 9.4% rebounding percentage. Like he's just not really doing anything.
Yeah. He's also 6K now plus.
Right. So. I'm saying he's not cheap.
What does he have to do to justify that ceiling?
Right.
I can't really think that he's going for 40 in this one with all that sort of regularity. So yeah, I prefer Bridges on FanDuel. I got him slightly on DK as well, but this is filler. This is not a focus. Let's go to Indy. Malcolm Brogdon, 9K on FanDuel, 8,200 on DK, $36 on Yahoo looks good too. Sabonis questionable. Miles Turner doubtful. If Sabonis plays, still pretty pricey. Can't really see the scenario where I want to get a lot of him. But what do you think of Sabonis tonight? And then we could scoop back to Brogdon.
Yeah, I think Sabonis is okay if he plays. One thing to point out is that at least based on how the rotations went in the first game he played without Turner, still was playing a lot of minutes at the four, which are just less productive minutes.
Yeah.
So you still expect him to be good. You know, he's been good alongside Turner this year. He was good in that game, but not quite as high a projection as if he were just getting 36 minutes at center, like he did last year when Turner was out.
So in that case, then let's say Sabonis plays. Do you have any interest in Goga?
What's his price?
He's
He
4K on
is
DK, projected for
yeah,
17% ownership.
yeah, I do.
So you see them playing together a bit.
Yeah, and I was actually kind of mad at, or not kind of, I was pretty mad at myself in that game that Sabonis played before against I don't remember who it was against, but for not really considering Goga because I projected Goga just to be the backup center and play like 12 minutes behind Sabonis.
Yeah.
But we've clearly seen that the Pacers are fine playing Sabonis at the four this season. He's playing a ton of minutes alongside Turner. TJ Leaf isn't good. Jakar Sampson isn't good. They needed rebounding. It was against Cleveland. I was pretty disappointed that I didn't consider that they could just play Sabonis alongside Goga, which is what they ended up doing. And I don't see why they wouldn't do it again.
Okay. Yeah, I think 4K is reasonable. There's not a ton of value out there like there was yesterday, so sometimes you have to hope for it. If Sabonis is out, fire him up. That'll be I assume one of the better plays today in terms of pay down options.
Yeah, you would think so. What position is he on FanDuel? Because on DraftKings he has power forward eligibility, which is really nice.
He is a center.
Yeah, so that makes it tougher on FanDuel.
Yeah. I'm really intrigued to see how he plays. There's a lot of like scuttlebutt in the analyst podcast world about him. I think the Spurs were unsurprisingly a little bummed that they didn't end up with him.
Yeah, I'll say I vaguely remember because I don't follow the draft, but like I watched it. I vaguely remember when he went there, him being one of the guys where everyone was like, "This could just end up being a monster pick."
Right. Yeah. I think that it was weird that he went to Indiana, obviously for reasons being that they have two guys already fighting for the center position for this team. But from everything that I understand, like I think he's got a decent shot. Still expect him to be bad, but anyway, let's talk Malcolm Brogdon. This is a very different Malcolm Brogdon than Milwaukee Malcolm Brogdon. 9K on FanDuel, 8,200 on DK, mid-20s in ownership on FanDuel and DraftKings. That all seems pretty reasonable to me. It's a terrifying price tag, but I think that it's going to take some time to recalibrate my brain to new Malcolm Brogdon. But I'd rather have him than Kemba as of right now, at least on FanDuel, separated by $100. I think I'd probably rather have him than Trae Young in his first game back, too. How do you feel about Brogdon?
I love Brogdon here. People are, I think, slowly catching on to how different he is than with the Bucks. But one thing that makes me feel really confident in him is if you look at his time with Milwaukee and you look at his rates during his time without Bledsoe or Giannis on the floor, he was putting up comparable rates, massive assists, 25, 26% usage. So it's not like you have this guy who's just like never shown he can be the guy before going in and getting off to a hot start to the season. He's kind of doing what we should have expected him to do. Tons of assist opportunities, 26.7% usage rate so far this season, leads the team, playing big minutes in competitive games. I don't really think that, like, if you strip the name out of it and just don't think at all about Malcolm Brogdon with the Bucks, and just look at the numbers, there's no reason that you shouldn't think Brogdon is underpriced at these salaries.
He's my number 2 player today on DK relative to salary.
Yeah, it seems perfectly fine.
Yeah.
He's second to LeBron James so far this season in potential assists per game. He's averaging 1.5 minutes less per game than LeBron. LeBron 19.8 potential assists per game. Brogdon 19.3. Luka and Russell Westbrook at 19.2. And then Ben Simmons is in fifth, all the way down at 16.7. So just insane opportunities for Brogdon.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, I like him here. Should be able to do whatever he wants. Happy to get to him. All right, I'm going to throw this back then. Since we haven't gotten to Kemba or Trae Young yet, they're all separated by $100 each on FanDuel. Rank the 3 9K point guards.
Killing me because I'm updating my projections as we go by
game.
Okay,
well then, no, we're good. We're good. We'll circle back to it then.
Okay, yeah. Because I do I think my answer is Brogdon, but I do want to double check it because I think it's actually a really good spot for Kemba too.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll circle back to it. We'll close that out. That'll be the thing we close it out on. You guys in the comment section, since you'll be able to do this once the show is over, live chat if you want to drop your answers in the chat as well. That'd be fun. Pick your poison. Trae Young, Kemba Walker, Malcolm Brogdon. Who you got on FanDuel? They're all essentially the same price. Jeremy Lamb, TJ Warren. Any interest?
They're okay. I don't think either one's a core play. They're just expensive enough where, a guy of Lamb at 32 minutes right now, I have him at like about 30 DraftKings points. TJ Warren, I have it less than that because he's actually been surprisingly not doing anything when he's on the floor this year. 20% usage rate, 4.5% rebounding percentage, 3.8% assist percentage. I expect those numbers to come up at least somewhat, but he's certainly not priced for how he's been performing.
Okay. I have Jeremy Lamb massively higher than you right now, which is a little scary. How
many minutes do you have him at?
32.
Yeah, same.
At 34 DK points.
Okay, yeah.
Feels high. He'll definitely be somebody that I dig into. Only at 12% ownership on DraftKings, so that'll be one of the first things I do is take a look at that because I'm going to get a lot more than 12% Jeremy Lamb if I run that crunch.
That means Tom agrees with me.
It's true. It's true. I mean, could revenge narrative?
I hate you.
No. Jeremy Lamb, revenge night. You heard it here first, straight out of Adam's mouth. Anything else from the Pacers?
I think I do have Lamb under projected. Yeah. I mean, he's averaging a little over 1 fantasy point per minute this year. I have him at 0.93 against the Hornets. So I need to find a way to get a little bit higher on Lamb.
Looks like I win in the end. Maybe 34.3 isn't the best, but we'll see. Keeping it moving. Cleveland and Boston. Cavs 104 implied total. Boston 109.5. We'll start on the Cleveland side, I guess. Eek. So the only thing that pops off the page to me, which did not go well in their last affair, 5K Larry Nance is projected for 28% ownership now. Love and Thompson getting a little love on DK. You see what I did there? Just talk to me about Cleveland in general.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Love is rebounding like a crazy person this year. Usage is down a bit, but you would expect it to come up at least somewhat, even if it doesn't get back to the 27% it was last year. But he's just, I don't know. I still think he's pretty correctly priced, at least relative to other players on the slate. Like, can Kevin Love smash an $8,800 price tag? Yeah. But is the likelihood of him doing that the same as a lot of other guys? I don't really think so. I think that he's a second. He's my favorite play from the Cavs, but that's not really saying a whole lot.
Okay, so now I need you to talk to me about Larry Nance. I don't know what to do with this dude. His rates this season have been, pardon my French, dog shit. And I don't know how much to do with that information. I had him projected a lot of it is coming from blocks and steals, which he is essentially not doing so far this season. If I leave his rates anywhere remotely close to his block steal rates previously, he is like my favorite play of the day. I ended up with way too much of him 2 nights ago. Now I've even knocked this back to like really, really pessimistic rates for him, and he's still my top FanDuel play for the Cavs.
I don't.
Like, how many points per minute do you have Larry Nance for today?
0.94.
Okay. So I have him at 24.7 FanDuel points in 26 minutes. And I don't know how to stop that from like being really prevalent for me.
What's his FanDuel salary?
5K.
And you have him at 24 points and you're getting a lot?
Yes.
Is that just because of the positions?
I guess.
Because I have him at 24.5 DraftKings, so I think we're in a similar spot.
Yeah, I have him at 26 DraftKings. So still a little high, which isn't surprising, where I'm pointing out a guy that is very clearly popping for me. Now, He's projected for 28% ownership on FanDuel, so maybe it's just positional, but even still, he grades out as my third best small forward relative to salary. That is uncomfortable to me. My only assumption is that, and I guess this is something that I could look into right now, although he probably played very little minutes with Love and Thompson being healthy. I think that he's just not in the places that he normally is on the court to pick up more blocks and steals.
Right. I think that's the case too.
Okay.
So last year when he played alongside Kevin Love, he played 178 minutes. He averaged 0.96 points per minute. I'm pulling up the Thompson numbers now, but going from memory, I think I remember it being a big issue when Thompson came back.
That sounds right. Like, it's weird to me because, like, if I'm just going to run the Cavs through all of last year and this year.
0.81 DraftKings points per minute alongside Thompson last year.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big piece because it's a number north of 1 otherwise, I believe.
Right.
I'm trying to run it for basically everything that we know of. So just with no filters whatsoever, just starting at the beginning of last season, he was 1.05 FanDuel points per minute. So Tristan Thompson, apparently not so great for Larry Nance. Something that I'm going to have to pay attention to, probably walk him back a bit. So you would be under that 28% ownership of Larry Nance, you would think?
I think so, because even looking at my baseline stuff for FanDuel, I had him as like my 6th best value at small forward.
Okay. There you go. We uncovered a little bit of a tidbit. Keep an eye on that Larry Nance ownership. All right, let's go to the real team in this game, unless you have something else that you really want to get your Chetty Osman thoughts in or something.
No, I'm good.
All right, Boston, here we go. There are 5 options, 5 guys getting ownership. Walker, Tatum, Hayward, Smart, Tice, 25% or more owned on FanDuel. Tice, Smart, 10 and 12 respectively on DK. The other guys are right around 20. Let's just talk Boston holistically. What stands out most to you? What stands out least?
All right. So I thought I saw yesterday that Cantor was. Oh, I thought I'd seen he was probable, but now he's doubtful.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that keeps...
Grant Williams, I believe, is likely to play now. It could be Robert. Whatever one would be up in the air is in, I think.
Yeah. So Cantor practiced, but is doubtful. Williams practiced and is probable.
There you go.
Okay. Got it. So that means that Daniel Tice should still play like 28 minutes, probably in that range. But yeah, I think Boston's still a really appealing team with Jaylen Brown out, because that's a lot of minutes that that become available without him. I think that it obviously opens more minutes for Smart. You should get a bunch of minutes from Hayward and Tatum as well, and it's a really good matchup against Cleveland.
Yeah. You mentioned Tice to start. He's 4,200 on FanDuel. That's one of the best, if not the best, value on the slate, I would say, for right now.
Yeah.
We just don't have a lot open. So
28 minutes for him is probably actually high. I mentioned 28, but he played 27 against the Knicks without Robert Williams. I
have him in for 26 right now, and he is still by a mile the top power forward option. It's seriously like not even remotely close for me. And that's what 4,200 will do for you. Different on DraftKings at 4,800. And then there's Kemba. Speaking of, did you see like what's wrong with Jaylen Brown? Got like some sort of infection?
I just saw illness. I didn't see what the deal was.
Yeah, I mean that's a long illness.
Yeah.
So I've got Kemba 0.3 of a point behind Brogdon. I have them relatively comparable. They're basically owned in a comparable way. I don't really have like a lean either direction. I guess I feel more comfortable. I mean, they even have the same total, and they're both playing bad teams from the East. This is about the same as similar of a matchup as you're going to get for 2 point guards. All right, we'll put it to you now. Pick between Kemba and Malcolm Brogdon.
I think Brogdon, just because of the peripherals. Kemba's never been a great assist guy so far this year. He has an 18.1% assist percentage compared to Brogdon at 46%. You get a bit more usage with Kemba, and Cleveland has been one of the worst teams defending the pick and roll this year, which is always a good thing for Kemba. But it's not like Brogdon's a low usage guy, and Brogdon just contributes so much more in the way of peripherals.
Okay, there we go. I'm fine with that take. It's a coin flip for me. I assume it's pretty close to that as well for you.
No.
No, it's that big.
I'm double checking Kemba's opportunities just to see if maybe he's been running bad on assists. But if he hasn't, I have Kemba at like 41 DraftKings points, and I have Brogdon at like 45.
I have them both at 45. I prefer Brogdon. Obviously, the salary helps out a lot. To me, it's pretty close. Tatum, Hayward, Smart. Anything that like you desperately want to talk about between those three?
No, I think that all three are just good options. You should get a lot of minutes for all of them. Smart lost 3 minutes to foul trouble last game, so I would expect about 34 minutes here. Hayward's playing big minutes and affordable. I think Smart out of the group is the least appealing, at least on DraftKings, because his price tag's jumped to $5,700. I think there's still a lot of excess value on a $7,700 Tatum or a $6,400 Hayward.
Yeah, Smart $100 cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. Obviously, looking a lot better there. I've got Hayward and Smart relatively close together. Not as fond of Tatum at 8,300 on FanDuel. I just think that it's easier to go a different direction, especially if I'm already going to be allocating a lot of exposure to $4,200 Daniel Tice at power forward, and for every share of Jason Tatum, that's just a share that I'm not getting of Anthony Davis.
So I have Kemba with a 23.4% expected assist percentage this year. So maybe running a little bit bad based on his opportunities, but still just not in the same category as Brogdon as far as that goes.
Okay. Is there anybody else on Boston viable outside of those first five guys we mentioned?
I don't think so. With Robert Williams being back, I think that makes it tougher to get to Grant Williams, who could like Williams. Yeah, like Grant Williams at 3,500 could be a decent option, but I just don't feel as good about his minutes with Robert back.
Same. Alrighty. To Atlanta we go. Good luck to the Spurs. They strike me as the type of team that would have a lot of trouble with all the Atlanta strip clubs. We'll start on the Atlanta side. 107.5 implied total. They are 3.5 point underdogs at home. Trae Young looks to be back. 9,200 on FanDuel. Same price on DK. 16.7 on Fantasy Draft. $44 on Yahoo. I'm not trying to roster Trae Young in this first game back. He does not grade out all that well for me. I don't really see it as a great spot. Am I crazy?
I don't think you're crazy. Like, he's more expensive than the other guys we talked about, but I still think he's a good play. Like, this isn't the same Spurs defense, that we've seen in the past. DeJounte Murray is a really good defender, but Young obviously just does everything when he's on the floor. So I don't know. I don't have an issue rostering Young.
Okay. Rank him between Kemba Walker and Malcolm Brogdon. Here we are.
Making sure I have everything on him right.
He's got to be last. He's $1,000 more expensive than Malcolm Brogdon on DraftKings.
I have him at 53 DraftKings points. I have Brogdon at 45. I have Kemba at 42.
You have Trae Young at 53 DraftKings points?
In 34 minutes.
What in the world do you have LeBron and AD projected for?
Haven't gotten that far.
Oh my God. All right, well, then
it's just it's using his rates from this year. I'm going to go and make sure that I feel good about them. Like 37% usage is probably a little high, so I'll cut that a little bit.
Wait, 53 in how many minutes?
34.
1.55. That is healthy. At 1.4 for the season. You gotta dial your Trae Young back. Or you're the most clairvoyant person in the history of the show.
His his actual assist percentage, I think, is higher than it will be too. So yeah, I cut that back a bit. Yeah, now I have him at 48 DraftKings points.
Okay. Now you're speaking my language. Trae Young was about to be your best play of the day.
Yeah.
um.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, no,
there you go.
For the season, he has a 42% assist percentage. I have him with a 36.5% expected assist percentage. So changing that, cut him back, and then taking him from like 37% usage to 34, which is still a pretty high number. Cut him back a bit as well.
Okay. So compare him to Brogdon since he is tops for you.
Yeah, I have Brogdon 1, and then Trae, and then Kemba.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah, 9,200 is a big time price tag on that first game back. I don't expect him to be like limited or anything, but I also don't expect them to, turn him all the way up to 11 either. I gave him 32 minutes.
I don't know. I feel okay about it just because they said he could have played the next day if they cared. Like,
that's true.
He's been perfectly fine. Like, they clearly didn't rush him back, and I assume that because of that, when he does come back, they're just going to be like, okay, like you've been 100% for the last 4 days.
Yeah. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. I could be pessimistic here in the minutes. What has he done? The minutes breakdown so far. 34.
He's averaging 29.7.
Yeah, well, that doesn't count.
Right.
34 and a half, 36, and 37. Yeah, but I think I just need to give him those minutes back. I don't really have.
Yeah, I'll say 34 could be kind of low.
Yeah. Well, I gave him 32, so I'm confident that that's low.
Yeah. That's Trae Young foul trouble.
Yeah. Who loses these minutes? Reddish probably drops to. Sorry, VC. Actually, I don't need to take those from anybody. All right. So after updating that, all three of these guys are looking pretty comparable. On FanDuel, I'm still going Brogdon, Kemba, Trae. On DraftKings, also Brogdon, Kemba, Trae. But I'm not at all surprised on DK. Trae is just massively priced in comparison to those two instead of separated by $100. Let's talk about the rest of Atlanta. John Collins getting a little love. Jabari Parker getting a little bit of love. Kevin Herter getting a little bit of love. I'm mostly indifferent on these guys. Do you have any interest in the rest of Atlanta?
Mostly indifferent too. Collins' salary isn't that great relative to other options, including Aldridge on the other side of this game. Kevin Herter is still Kevin Herter. He's cheap, but what's he really going to do? Parker's not that cheap. Is DeAndre Hunter the worst basketball player you've ever seen?
No. In what regard?
Being really bad at basketball.
I was going to say, please don't tell me all regard.
All of it. I mean, I don't know. It's just watching. Like, I don't have any preconceived notion of him from UVA because I don't watch college. But just watching the Hawks games so far this year, I actually have been laughing because it's like I'll see Hunter get the ball and I'll be like, well, this is about to be a turnover, and then he'll dribble once and just get the ball smacked out of his hands. It's
plus 18.7 so far in the season, 85th percentile in.
Is he really?
Plus minus, yeah.
He has been.
This dude is a quote unquote winner.
He has been awful on the offensive end, at least from whatever Atlanta games I've watched.
Yeah, so he's shooting 25% from three, a 44.7% effective field goal percentage, which is a 22nd percentile for a wing. He's not supposed to be an offensive juggernaut. He is there for
so he's a defensive guy, right?
Yeah. And I think that is bearing out pretty well so far. I did not know that this little position screen existed on Cleaning the Glass. That is dope. I'm going to use this more. Awesome. It has on-off metrics for offense and defensive 4 factors, with all of the minute broken down point guard through center. So 97% of his time at small forward, all of the 4 factors for the team, 2% at shooting guard, all of the 4 factors for the team. It's a really cool way to look at that if you have guys that are very positionally diverse. But yeah, no, he's been the defense has been incredible when he's been on the floor. 98.9 points per 100 possessions. They're really limiting effective field goal percentage, causing a bunch of turnovers. So I think that's decent. But
yeah,
I understand what you're
clear,
saying. His offensive stats have been dreadful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 2019. Who cares about defense?
Wrong sport?
Kind of.
Well, I mean, it depends what we're talking about here. Winning basketball or DFS.
I mean, I think that basketball teams are trending more towards caring more about offense than defense.
Are they?
I think so.
Are which teams? Because I bet the ones that win are the ones that are doing it the opposite way.
I wouldn't say the opposite. I would say they have really good offensive players that are great defenders.
That's true. That's a good point.
And I mean, Golden State doesn't, well, Clay, but like Kawhi, like he's a great offensive player. He just happens to be great defensively, and same with Paul George.
Yeah. Oh, I was even thinking back to like the Raptors, Siakam.
Yeah, but like they're both really, like Kawhi is a great offensive player. Siakam's really good. It's not they don't have DeAndre Hunter type guys leading their teams.
No. I mean, what we're talking about is essentially like the dream scenario of what OG Anunoby.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about. I mean, yeah, like to actually win it, you need all of it.
Right. I think, but like back when the NBA was slower and more half court sets and stuff, you had teams that like legitimately would try and just play great defense, and like the Pistons, and slow the game down. Like I think as a whole, the NBA now has realized that it's an easier way to win basketball, or a better way to win at basketball, is to just score more points.
Okay. I don't know what to do with the rest of Atlanta, so probably nothing. I won't have anybody other than Young, Collins, or Parker. That I can say right now with authority.
I would add Herter to that, but not that I think I'm going to get a lot, just that I'll probably get some at 4,100.
How many minutes do you think he's playing?
25.
Might even play more than that. He's getting ownership. I've been in for 24. Let me give him another minute.
The last I saw, he was on a 25-minute limit. Has that increased?
No idea. I'm still not going to get him, but he's at 17% ownership on FanDuel and 13% on DraftKings. Ugh. You want to talk about the Spurs?
Sure.
It's like Big Ten basketball. DeRozan and Aldridge are very clearly the two people that you need to talk about. First, 7,600 and 7,700 on FanDuel. 7,500. LaMarcus Aldridge is 6,800 on DraftKings. Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right.
Egregious price tag on Aldridge.
We have to smash both of these guys, right?
Aldridge, for sure.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I agree. So DeMar for 7,600 on FanDuel, I think, is like as close to equally as egregious. Just given positionality. He's the third most expensive shooting guard. And Atlanta should be an interesting team for him. Yeah, you just have to play a ton of LaMarcus Aldridge if he's 6,800, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's still playing 33, 34 minutes. He has a 24.3% usage rate this year. Rebounding percentage isn't great at 10.7%. I think that they're both just getting hurt by playing more minutes alongside DeJounte Murray, who is getting a ton of assist opportunities and grabbing rebounds. But the pricing, especially on Aldridge at 6,800, is just really cheap.
He grades out as my fourth best play on DraftKings right now. I think that seems pretty reasonable, all things considered. Why I don't want to. Why is this like this? No, I just want this year. Why the hell would I care about it? Whatever. This is fine. He has not been good so far this year.
Aldridge?
Yeah.
No, he's been terrible.
Yikes. Need more Jake Puddle. Do you want anybody else from San Antonio? Derek White. That's it. I don't know. I'm not interested in the San Antonio team outside of those two guys.
Yeah, I don't have much interest either.
Oh, God, this is craziness.
Rudy Gay's price tag came up. He was someone that I was rostering the last couple of slates, but don't really see it now.
4,900 on FanDuel. I think that's still very viable.
Yeah, that's cheaper than DraftKings.
Would you rather have Rudy Gay or Larry Nance on FanDuel, separated by $100?
Gay.
Otto Porter, Rudy Gay, $300 gap.
Who Porter's more expensive?
Yes.
I would still take Porter.
Okay. Good to know. I'll probably get a lot of DeMar DeRozan. Putting that out there now. He is actually my highest ranked shooting guard. I don't know how comfortable I feel about that, but I'm willing to take my chances at 7,600 against the Hawks. Otherwise, it's Jimmy Butler or Shea at 8,300. Then you're getting into like a lot of questionable type dude. That your Jeremy Lambs, your Devontae Grahams, Marcus Smart, Dwayne Bacon.
Aldridge's rates just look awful right now.
Yeah. And I don't really understand why. I thought that he was going to thrive. He's essentially only playing center now. And I thought that would be helpful, but apparently that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting... So his usage is down from last year, but also 1.8 potential assists per game. Not that he's a high assist guy, but that's like getting you no opportunities. Leads the team with 15.7 rebound chances per game, but that's not a super high number when you're averaging over 32 minutes a game.
Wake up, Aldridge. Wake up. Anything else in this game?
Nope.
Okay. Another perfect opportunity for everybody to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. A little subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, or at least it's supposed to be there. Don't be afraid to click that and click subscribe. Helps us out tremendously. Coming up for the rest of the day, Laffy and Sal will be taking their first look at Week 10 in the NFL. They will be starting it up at 11 a.m. Jake will be back at 4 p.m. talking hockey. Alex will be behind the paywall for his game plan stream, also at 4 p.m. The deeper dive will be Laffy joining Adam again, as per usual. And then live before lock, first time combination, Fast Eddie Fear. So he's on for all of you guys. Going to be joined by Chris Randone. First time those two guys will be doing a show together. Come, check them out. Give them some love. Hit that like button for them. Who knows what we'll be giving to you guys today. I don't think we have anything else. Anything else fun today? Yeah, strategy syllabus will be free. You guys will want to check that out. Let's keep it moving. We've got 33 minutes to go. Knowing us, we'll probably need all of them. Chicago Bulls, Los Angeles Lakers, 104.5 for the Bulls, 111 for the Lakers. I don't have much interest at all in this Bulls team. Nobody really with pricing that I really, really love. Zach LaVine, 7,400, I think looks good and can blow that out of the water. It's at 22% ownership already, so I don't see a ton of utility there. But $6,300 Lauri Markkanen on DraftKings certainly stands out.
Yeah, it does. The pricing on them in general on DraftKings is really favorable. Otto Porter at 4,300. There's, I guess, some concern about his minutes, but he's probable, and we had seen them trending up. So I think that he probably gets like 28 to 30.
I have him in for 30.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's not that he's a great DFS player, but it's a pretty decent price tag. LaVine is in like, I talked about it with Devin Booker yesterday, where there are some concerning things as far as how like his opportunities, but the salary is just so low that in tournaments at probably lowish ownership, he's interesting just because it's Zach LaVine and he can go out there and shoot 30 times.
Yeah, that's the only tricky part, is the fact that he's going to go unconscious a couple times. Just not stop shooting. I don't really see anywhere that I'm going to be having a lot of the Bulls outside of Markkanen, DraftKings. Otto Porter is 8,200 on Fantasy Draft. I think that is viable as well. Just want to make sure that we point that out, but I'm just not a fan of this Bulls team. I thought I was going to be. That's the crazy part of it all.
Yeah. Well, they also just haven't been playing huge minutes to the guys that matter.
Yeah, which is not typical.
Right.
Here's their minutes per game. Levine 32, Markkanen just under 30, Carter 28, 27, 26. Like they're just not doing it. Also, Wendell Carter defense this year. Whew. Bulls have been really good with him on the floor. Like crazy good.
Yeah. He was actually someone that I've been rostering a lot because he's always low owned. And you would think at some point he starts playing more than 28 minutes, but maybe not. But yeah, rebound numbers look really good as far as opportunities go. His price, the problem is that his price tag has just never really been that low this season.
Yeah. I mean, a much better real life player than he is a fantasy player. And like,
I don't have anything.
Markkanen's at 19% on DK, Levine 12. Everybody else is just scattered single digits, and that's, to me, that's exactly what it should be.
Yep. Other side of this game is much more fun.
Is it?
Yeah.
The way you're saying that makes me think that you're going to start naming people that aren't Anthony Davis and LeBron James.
No, I just think Anthony Davis and LeBron James are a lot more fun than anything.
Whoa! Breaking news. John Collins suspended 25 games for violating the anti-drug program.
Wow. Jabari Parker.
Yeah, it's Jabari Parker season. John Collins, what are you doing, brother?
Wow.
Well, ultimately, I just want to know what he was suspended for. Huh. All right. We'll circle back to Atlanta for a second at the end. Okay, so let's talk Lakers. AD, LeBron, separated by $200 on FanDuel, separated by $400 on DraftKings. To me, it's LeBron on DK, AD on FanDuel, but both of them regardless.
Yeah, both of them regardless. Yeah, LeBron's got a 52.9% assist percentage this year. But yeah, LeBron slightly ahead of AD. Emac and I talked about it on the podcast last night. I'm interested to see what your thoughts are about playing them together. I said that at least on DraftKings, I'm perfectly fine with it because they're both so cheap. Like,
agreed.
Obviously, you would like them to go for like 70 a piece, but with LeBron at 9,600 and Davis at 10K, even if you're getting like 60 from both of them, you're happy.
Yeah, DK, I don't care. FanDuel, it's a much tougher sell.
I agree.
Collins tested positive for growth hormone releasing peptide 2. So, not weed.
Yeah.
It's going to grow your waistline, but that's about it. Oh, come on. That's a good Munchies joke. I don't have anything else to say about Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Like, we know what's going to happen here. Is there anything to you about Anthony Davis playing in Chicago? Do you believe in that narrative at all?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't hurt.
Right.
But I'm already playing a ton of him, and I'm not adjusting him because he's in Chicago.
No, I understand that. It's the only reason I mention is that like I can see LeBron deferring because of it.
Sure.
Which is not anything that gets factored into projections. I make no changes for this whatsoever, but like I can see that being the path of the game. But either way, on DK, these guys are just too cheap.
He's only played at Chicago twice in the last 3 seasons.
Really?
Yeah. 39 minutes. January
4th.
Yeah, January 14th, 2017, and November 4th, 2017. 39 minutes, 64 and a half points. 41 minutes, 54 points.
I might boot Dave out of Slack right now. Why don't you adjust his projections because he's in Chicago? It's obvious players play harder in their hometown. Dave, I truly wish you had a different gimmick in Slack. Ugh. All right, any other Lakers? This is Dwight Howard season against the Bulls?
He's just not that cheap. And he's a center.
Yeah, 13% ownership on DK right now.
I think that's fine. I don't think it's like too high. I wouldn't really want to be going above that, I don't think.
Yeah. I don't have anything else from the Lakers. Like they won't even be in a crunch.
The thing that scares me about Howard so much is his like upside minutes are what, 22.
That's what I have him in for.
But like there's also downside to that.
Yeah.
If he's not playing really well or if McGee starts playing really well, or if they give Davis more minutes at the 5 with Kuzma getting some more minutes. I just hate rostering guys whose price tags are coming up, and I don't really see how they're getting more minutes, but I can see ways that they get less minutes.
Yeah. I hate the Lakers. Go Bron. Go AD. What's your preference on FanDuel? AD $200 more expensive. 3 times as much ownership. 27% for AD, 8 for Bron.
Really depends on the positions. So small forward, you have Gallinari, you have Hayward, you have Bridges, Gay. Power forward, we just lost Collins.
Yeah,
If
pour one out for John Collins.
Yeah, I think I prefer LeBron because at power forward, in terms of raw points, you still have Jason Tatum, you have Jabari, you have Aldridge, who maybe does something, you have Markkanen, who maybe does something. Kevin Love can obviously get a bunch of points. At small forward, you just don't have that many guys that are likely that can even give you 45.
Okay. Would you rather have Jabari Parker or Daniel Tice on FanDuel? Power forward, Parker, $600 more expensive than Tice.
Jabari.
I haven't done anything to put Parker in yet, so.
Yeah, I think it's Jabari.
Okay. It makes me really interested in their ownership. I expect to get both of them quite a bit, but neither here nor there. I think that's it for this game. Let's keep it going. And like I said, I'm going to circle back to the Hawks and take Collins out and just see what the impact is on screen. Oklahoma City Thunder hosting the Orlando Magic in the Scott Brooks Bowl. Nope, wrong team. 103.75 implied total. The Magic are not the Wizards. 103.75 for the Thunder. 100.25 for the Magic. We'll start on the Thunder side. SGA, most expensive player on Oklahoma City. 8,300 on FanDuel, 7K on DK, 13,1 on Fantasy Draft, 30 on Yahoo. I like him on DK. I like him on Fantasy Draft. I don't like him as much on FanDuel and Yahoo. What do you want to do with SGA?
Yeah, I always like him. Not the most appealing game here against Orlando. Only a 204 total in the game, but he still leads the team in usage at 26.2% this season. Rebounding, he's getting a decent amount of opportunities. Assists aren't great, but they're not terrible either. He's fine. I don't like him quite as much as I have on other slates.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have much interest there. The most appealing thing to me right now is probably Gallinari, 6,200 on FanDuel. You're getting him at a small forward position that outside of LeBron James has no other legitimate pay-up options. I don't mean like that I don't think they're good. I mean, they just don't exist. Gordon Hayward at 6,900 is the most expensive guy not named LeBron James. So I think Gallo very much in play. He's at 37% ownership, so I'm not saying anything that anybody else isn't already looking at. I have Steven Adams in. If he is out, great. Probably still going to be playing some Nerlens Noel at 4,400 on DraftKings, I guess.
Yeah, and on FanDuel. Adams news has an impact on that Anthony Davis LeBron question on FanDuel too, because if he's out, it gives you another good power forward in Noel.
Yeah. He should not be power forward, which is dumb, but
correct.
Whatever. I don't have any interest in Chris Paul any longer with anything like substantial. And then there are no other things on Oklahoma City. I don't want Schroeder or the rest of these boners.
Yeah, it's pretty much Gilgeous-Alexander for me. Noel if Adams is out, and then on FanDuel, Gallinari because of the position, like you said.
Yeah. Let's go to Orlando, where it is, in my opinion, equally as bleak. 100.25 implied total. This is the lowest number on the slate. 8,600 for Vooch. 84 on DK, 15.9 on Fantasy Draft, just $31 on Yahoo, which I think is his best price across the industry. I like Vooch here. He grades out pretty well for me. In terms of centers, I have him just a hair behind Jokic as of right now. I'm expecting to get a solid amount of Vooch. He's at 18% ownership. I don't think that that's unreasonable.
Yeah, his rates this year haven't looked that great. Like his rebounding is way down from last year. His assists are way down. Usage is down. But at the same time, it's a similar team to last season. So I would expect those to kind of level off a little bit. But as is, I think just like a secondary option for me. I just don't think this game is all that appealing.
No, and it shouldn't be. It's got the lowest implied total on the slate. Orlando is much more of a defensive team than an offensive team to start. I don't have anybody. I'll probably have a couple shares of like Fournier or Terrence Ross, I guess. Michael Carter Williams should be back. I don't really have any interest in Fultz. No Gordon. No, this is just not a team that I want.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting that Fournier has the highest usage rate on the team so far, 27%. Like it probably comes down, but maybe it doesn't. He's cheap. People never roster him. I don't mind taking a shot on Fournier. I think he's actually my favorite guy from Orlando.
Probably why they're 2-4 with a -5 point differential. Maybe they should reallocate that usage in some form or fashion, because it doesn't seem to be working with old Never Google. Yeah, oh my! What did you say you had it at?
27 too.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at Cleaning the Glass, 27-7. I mean, he's been their best player. 75th percentile in points per shot attempt. Everybody else is in like 25 or below. They've just been ice cold offensively.
Yeah,
I can only imagine. All right, let me look at their shooting numbers.
Vooch has a 45.7% effective field goal percentage this season.
I'm gonna assume that they're essentially at the bottom. Orlando dead last in effective field goal percentage, 44.9, 3 full percentage points short of the Knicks. Wow. That's not going to hold up regardless.
Vooch is about 9 points lower than last season.
Josh is in love with the Cleaning the Glass stat now. Josh subscribed to Cleaning the Glass the day that Ben Falk released it, and I still pay the fucking grandfathered in pricing. So Josh has been in love with this site since the moment Ben Falk got back into the league, or left the league and went back into this space. Go check my streams from 2 years ago. Miami, 56.9 effective field goal percentage, number 1 in the league. Everything that Orlando is doing is awful. Clear across the... They're shooting 54.9% at the rim.
That's tough to do.
That dead last. 28.5% from 3. That's 29th. They can't make a bucket at the rim or from 3. That is really bad. Where are they shooting from? They are 3rd from the bottom in corner threes. So even the shots that they are taking are like the least popular, or like the least efficient shots that you can have. Not getting to the rim all that much. Orlando's offense is just stagnant. So good luck. Pass on Orlando. Let's get to Denver. Final game, late night hammer, so to speak, 9 p.m. Denver Nuggets, Miami Heat. Nuggets 4.5 point favorites in Denver. Got to talk about Nikola Jokic at the top. 9,200 on FanDuel, 9,400 on DraftKings, and 16.9 on Fantasy Draft. I love Jokic on FanDuel at 9,200. I don't care how bad he's looked.
Agreed. It's just you kind of just have to accept that you're going to get stretches during the season where Jokic just doesn't appear to care.
Yeah.
Because you never know when he's going to snap out of that. And when he does, you have to have him. The salary comes down as a result. So it's not like we're paying 10-5 for him or anything like that.
No, he's never he's too good. It's really that easy. He's not going to. Wow, he shot 31% from 3 last year. That's 39.9 the year before that. Looking to be the outlier. But shooting rates are down. Shooting from anywhere else, no, not really. Everything looks relatively the same. It's just going to rebound is all there is to it. I love him. 2300.
23.9% usage rate this year is pretty insane.
Yeah,
like on the low end.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I'm projecting him higher than that for sure.
Yeah.
I'm also quite a fan of Jamal Murray. 6,500 today on FanDuel. I like him way more than I like Jokic. 6,500 on DK as well, I think is very viable. 12-2 on fantasy draft might just be the best price across the board. What do you want to do with Jamal Murray?
I usually just want to do the opposite of the field with Jamal Murray because he doesn't contribute a whole lot in terms of peripherals. He's a scorer and he's capable of, lighting it up and going for 50 any given night, which is really nice at his price tag. But his median projection is never really that great for me. Right now on DraftKings, we have him at 16%, which I think is perfectly reasonable. That puts him behind a little bit behind Gilgeous-Alexander. He's behind Rozier. He's behind Kemba, Brogdon. So yeah, I think that he's a good play. Miami playing really, really fast as well. Should benefit him.
I have him ahead of Kemba by a hair.
In
like
projection,
relative to salary.
Okay.
Yeah, no. That would be I would be having your Trae Young projection on Jamal Murray here. These guys are separated by like 9 fantasy points. Yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of Murray. That 6,500 on FanDuel is just way too low. He is my top point guard on the FanDuel slate relative to salary. He will be one of my most exposed guys, and he is currently the second most exposed point guard in our ownership projections. I'll probably have a little Paul Millsap, a little bit of Gary Harris. That's probably it. You have any interest in the rest of the Nuggets?
Yeah, I think that I agree with you on Millsap. He 4,700 on DraftKings. You've seen his minutes really fluctuate this season, and that's partly it's basically a product of just how good the Nuggets are. They can run a bunch of different rotations. He also has a very good backup in Jeremy Grant that can play minutes against a wide range of opponents. So there's risk there, but I think that there's just more upside than downside when you get him at this salary. If he does get 28 to 32 minutes, he should post a really big game against Miami. It is a bigger Miami front court with Myers, Leonard, and Bam. So, that could bode well for Millsap also.
Absolutely. Let's talk about that Miami team where the highest owned guy on either FanDuel or DraftKings is Bam Adebayo at 8% on DK, and they all grade out like garbage for me. I have Justice Winslow in. I have Derek Jones in barely, not that it matters. Is there anything you want on Miami? Do we need to have a discussion about Jimmy Butler? 8,100, I think we probably do on DK. 9,500 on FanDuel is going to be a bit more of a tough sell.
It's just really, really tough for me to get there because, for one, they are completely healthy. You have Butler back. You may or may not have Winslow, but they're priced correctly because all season long you've had either Butler or Winslow out. So it's not like Winslow being out means that people are underpriced because they were already priced up from Butler being out. Denver is the slowest team in the league. It's not an appealing matchup in that regard. You have a bunch of guys that play the same positions, and so minutes projections can be pretty volatile. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see much here that I'm interested in. Deion Waiters is active as well.
Yeah, there's no way that I'm going to $9,500 Jimmy Butler at shooting guard on FanDuel. That's lunacy, in my opinion. DK, the price tag is more reasonable, but what's around him? So, I mean, I don't have him even close to Malcolm Brogdon, and they're separated by $100. Would you rather have Jimmy Butler or Jason Tatum?
Tatum.
Same. Jimmy Butler or DeMar DeRozan?
Butler.
Okay. See, I differ there. I would rather have DeRozan. Levine, we're starting to get away from the salary a little bit too much. I'd rather have Levine.
I have Butler a little bit better, but it's not like I feel strongly. I think him, DeRozan, Levine, when you consider their salaries, are all pretty comparable.
Okay. And then I assume we're both Kemba over Butler.
Yeah.
Try not to name like the legitimate centers. I know who's in that group that's 8K. I'd rather have Butler than John Collins at this point. Whoops. I don't have anything else to say for the Heat. This is pretty gross as the late night hammer. All right. You want to circle back to Atlanta and just try to touch on what we think is going to happen there now that John Collins is on the gas?
What was your question?
Let's just talk Atlanta.
Okay.
Okay, so John Collins obviously playing zilch from a minutes perspective. I thought he missed a game earlier. Did he not?
He did not.
Hmm.
I don't think.
No, he very much didn't.
He went to the locker room.
Okay. Probably shot those steroids right up in that ass. Got back out there. Okay, so what do we think this does for Alex Len? 20, I mean, maybe like a 2-3 minute boost. Nothing crazy.
Yeah,
right?
probably like 23, 24 minutes.
Okay. I'm guessing Bruno Fernando sees an extra minute or two. Who is the biggest benefactor now from a playing time perspective?
Jabari.
Okay. You think Jabari is starting to see something in like the close to 30-minute range?
Yeah, I think he plays around 30.
Okay.
Like he's been Collins' direct backup, and then also without Collins, you need more offensive firepower in addition to Trae Young.
Yeah.
And Parker brings that.
Who else gets this benefit? I mean, Vince Carter's probably going to see a couple extra minutes now.
Yeah.
Does Tyrone Wallace stay in the rotation?
I'm not expecting him to.
I yanked him completely, but now it's.
I think that Carter soaks up some minutes. You know, you still have Hunter, Reddish, Bembry, and Herter on the wing.
Yeah. Hunter can probably get another 2. Bembry probably needs more here. I mean, I think there's still like a rotation available for Ty Wallace. They played 12 guys on the 29th. They played 11 minus Trae Young on the 31st. Have they really not? Did I not update this, or have they not played in 5 days?
They haven't played in a long time.
Okay. The perfect timing for Trae Young to roll an ankle.
Yeah. Another reason why I'm just not concerned about his minutes.
I guess Damian Jones probably.
I think he plays like a handful of minutes.
Yeah. I don't really have anybody else that I think that I need to adjust with any sort of major number here. I think the Ty Wallace might still see some time, but not that it's like viable time. I'll hash that out later. Let's hop back to Atlanta and see what that does. So, based on the changes that I just made, Jabari Parker has just become the best play of the day, at least on FanDuel. And on DraftKings, also the case. 5K on DK. On FanDuel, you're getting him at 4,800. I have him pretty healthily ahead of Daniel Tice, too. But those two guys are going to make up a real staggering amount of ownership here. Really anxious to see how the Jabari Parker ownership affects Anthony Davis.
Yeah, it's with FanDuel, I think it makes again LeBron just a better play than Davis.
Yeah. You'll also, I would assume, see Jason Tatum and LaMarcus Aldridge see a big time drop in their projected ownership as well. So something to pay attention to.
So I have 6 minutes left over, and just kind of off the top of my head, I gave. Oh wait, nope, I have. Those minutes are going to Jones, so that's perfect. All right, so I have, tell me if anything sounds weird, but I have Herter at 26 minutes, Young at 34, Bembry at 26, Parker at 30, Reddish at 30, Len at 24, Hunter at 28. You could flip those with Reddish, doesn't matter. Fernando and Carter at 18, and then Jones at 6.
Okay, that works. We keep getting the question, what does this do to Trae Young's rates? This doesn't change anything for me for Trae Young.
I can look. It'll take a second because the site doesn't load very fast. But
I can't imagine that it matters, really. Just knowing what Jabari Parker is.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he it wouldn't be surprising if his usage goes up a little bit, but probably not. Like his usage this year has already been higher than we expect, so I wouldn't like bump it above that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's going to matter all that much. You're getting Jabari's going to be looking for himself a lot more than John Collins generally does, depending on how that actually happens is a little different.
So without without Collins on the floor since last season, 1.17 fantasy points per minute for Young. He has a 29.6% usage rate. But again, it's tough because like last year he had a lower usage rate in the first half, and then it just gradually went up throughout the season.
Right. Yeah, he's not going to be anywhere near 29% usage this entire season. So.
Right. Yeah, I don't think any massive changes. I think if anything, it just makes the ceiling higher.
Yeah, it doesn't change my outlook whatsoever.
Yeah. So just looking at last season, 1.17 points per minute with Collins on, and I just said since last season 1.17 with him off. So
there you go. All righty, guys. I think we are done. In 5 minutes, Laffy and Salvetri will be talking to you about Week 10 in the NFL. So go check those guys out. Please hit the like button before you leave. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. We've got a ton of content coming up through the rest of the day. Check out the NBA strategy syllabus at awesemo.com later this afternoon. That is the free piece of content today. And tune in to the deeper dive and live before lock tonight. Maybe there will be another giveaway if you guys hit that like button well. Thanks, Pal78, for letting us know that Collins is suspended. This show has been on for an hour and a half. Late news. Adam, anything else?